Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pep Talks. My name is Pep, and I'm glad to have you guys here. We're gonna get right to it because it's a late one. I am gonna address the fact that this is a late episode. I know the past few weeks has been on Mondays, and I'm gonna try my best to keep it on a Monday at a certain time. Usually, it's like at 8:30 where I would want to try to aim for, but you know, life, right? So I do want to apologize for that, and it might happen in the future, but just know at least once a week you'll get to see this handsome face. And yeah, like I said, we're gonna get right to it, and I'm excited to be here. I did want to talk about, luckily, right now, I know a lot of my fellow contractors, a lot of my fellow entrepreneurs are feeling a big of a decline in what you could say in work and their profession or their trade. And yeah, unfortunately, we've kind of seen me and my group. We've kind of seen the same situation going on right now, and luckily, we've been able to kind of push through it, and we're finding our own ways to, not only get by but keep maintaining what we want to build. And yeah, I think that's sometimes you kind of need that little wake up call when it gets a little slow, and you're always depending on yourself to have that paycheck. So yeah, it definitely puts you to work and makes you have a different type of grind, different type of mindset. But it's good, because sometimes we get a little bit accustomed to things going the way we want it to, but it won't always be that way. So I wanted to kind of go over that for anybody who's been feeling that kind of pressure. Usually, if you've already been in it for a while, been doing your own thing, I feel like it's a little bit easier to find your way. Every now and again, you'll feel that way. And yeah, I just wanted to connect that with anybody out there who's feeling it. And I mean, even if you're not in your own space and you still see like a different step in your work, I hope it gets better. We're all kind of feeling it. I actually got really to thinking about it, and I never really quite understood like how now they say, oh, it's an election year, but I guess the past election year when I was like really into like what life is, like every day you're just creating your own world. And I think when I was feeling that the most was COVID, which was an election year. So I feel like that year was already fucking crazy. And so maybe that's why I didn't relate to it at that time, because right before that was kind of like me getting into out of high school was the election year before even 2020. So then you still don't really even acknowledge that, just because whatever you do work in, you still make shitty money. So I feel like I kind of didn't feel that either. So this is kind of the first year where I see that term of, oh, this is an election year, and it being used. So if it's just because of that, we'll see how it goes. And yeah, that's kind of where like work has been. It's kind of been keeping me on my toes, and just that. Hey, pause. But definitely, keeping you awake and a little bit more alert. Maybe getting back to some habits that you weren't, using at that time. So I've been trying to get it more a little bit dedicated into my craft, into whatever I'm doing, and I don't want to forget this part. But sometimes you gotta, put a little bit of emphasis on one thing, just because if that's kind of like your main flow, you gotta respect that. If you can't really let go of things you haven't finished and then go start other things. So definitely, I'm a believer in that, and I'm trying to be a believer every day, and as a believer, also be a practitioner of that belief. So this is where we're at, and hopefully in the next upcoming weeks we can have another conversation and see how it's going. If it's going shitty, it is what it is. What are we gonna do about it? What's next on the docket? Anybody who's been telling me that they want to do a podcast and they don't know where to start, I feel like this is a good one. Have a notebook and just kind of write down what you're going to talk about for the day. I jotted down like little bits that I had in my head, and I was thinking over the day, and I already came up with 5 different points. 5 different points, if my math does not fail me. 5 minutes each point, 25 minutes. Boom. That's a 25-minute solo podcast. You could do this by yourself. And that's how you kind of get used to talking, used to really creating a whole thought out of just a little bit of writing that you would have right here. So the next thing on the topic, let me get a little bit of water. For all of those that don't like ASMR, sometimes I don't either, but it is what it is. I had to drink some water. Got a little bit of cotton mouth. If you know, you know. All right, next thing on the docket is I wanted to talk about just anything that I like looking forward to things. So I think right now one of the thing, even though I'm very trying to be focused on what I'm doing at this time, I do like to at least say, hey, you're gonna probably have a little bit of a break here, and kind of look forward to that. You know, it reminds you like, hey, you know what? Keep your head down right now, because then in a few weeks you'll be able to ease off for at least a couple of days. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to be excited for taking a small trip, and I feel like that one's gonna be cool because one way or another, I'll try to involve something that I'm doing daily with wherever I'm at and wherever I go. So um, definitely we'll have some plans for that, but it's just excited to be around good people, and it's for a special occasion, and I think that's cool. I think traveling, I've I've been fond of, even if it's not like a big travel, like, oh, we're gonna go all the way for like a week somewhere. I definitely have been a big fan of like weekend trips. I think those are cool, very good refreshers. Every couple weeks, every couple, even every couple months, just have something that like kind of keeps you away. And I wanted to kind of get into that because I didn't ever really realize what it was, and I heard somebody say that traveling is good for the soul. So I wanted to talk about traveling just for a little bit. Kind of just give you whatever you can literally look this up on Google, but that is where I will be reading it from. I don't think there's any harm in me reading from Google, right? So, traveling can be good for you in many ways, including mental health. Mm. Travel can help you feel more relaxed, less anxious, and more content. It can help you take your mind off of stressful situations, which can lower your Cortisol levels. Travel can also help you combat I have the reading level of third grader. Travel can also help you combat monotony. Monotony. Oh wow! By exposing you to new people and experiences. Monotony. Let me know what that means. You know what? Let's look it up. We're already on old Google. Monotony. Definition. Lack of variety and interest. Tedious repetition and routine. Oh, basically, just telling you it'll get you out of the routine. It's always good to have, like I said, a refresher. There we go. All right, new word of the day. Let's see what it sounds like, what it's supposed to sound like. I'll do that for you guys. I can actually put it on here. Let's see what it sounds like.
Monotony.
One more time.
Monotony.
Monotony. Nice. All right. Next part of it, why it would help you, it's creativity. Traveling can broaden your perspective and expose you to new cultures and ways of thinking, which can help boost your creativity. That makes sense, I've actually felt like, even like when cooking, I feel like whenever I travel, I have been like, oh, that's a different way to like serve an egg or serve something like that. So I can see where that's cool. Immersing yourself in a local culture can also increase your cognitive flexibility and help you learn lessons that can inspire new ideas. Okay. So it's just basically, you know what? I'm not even going to break that down because I'm trying to process that as I'm reading this. This is the first time reading it, so you will interpret it a different way than I will, and I'm not going to change that. So that's pretty cool, though. Next one on there is empathy. Travel can help you learn about different cultures, which can increase your empathy towards others. It can also help you reduce biases and decrease frustration. Okay. I didn't even think about that one. Empathy. What does that mean? Like, if you're well, I mean, we have homeless people here in Atlanta, but when you go to somewhere like California and you see a lot of homeless people, I guess you can say, like, damn, it really is hard sometimes, but people still fighting. So I can see that. Last one is self discovery. Travel can be a great way to learn about yourself. Living abroad can help you create a stronger sense of self and find answers to questions about who you are. Cool. I might see if I'm a good square dancer. Not a square, but there's square dancing where, we're going to go to Nashville. I don't know why I didn't even mention that. Nashville seems like a cool spot to be at. I've actually been just to work, so I've never really taken the drive just to take it, to have fun. So it's gonna be cool. I've already been there plenty of times, so very excited to see that. Maybe we'll discover if I'm a good square dancer because I feel like I'm gonna run into a club that's gonna have square dancing. Well, yeah, that's basically a few key points of why traveling can be good, and I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. So if you've been wanting to take a travel, and maybe you're like, well, where do I even go, dude? I've been to like Athens for a weekend. It's only 2 hours. You can go literally to a small cabin. I feel like it's as long as you get out of what you're doing and it doesn't have to be so expensive and luxurious. Like it's just I feel like even trying different like I don't know, like just a different type of food or maybe like waking up in a different different spot can kind of like alter you and be like, "Oh shit, like the world is bigger," outside of my regular life, outside of wherever I live. Like I can literally be anywhere, whenever, and I think that's kind of like wakens you up, and you're like, oh shit, like this is possible. And I feel like maybe from that you could see an increase of you wanting to, extend how far you're actually going, and you'll find yourself across the world one day, and you'll be like, hey, little steps led to this, and I'm glad I did it. Very, very, very glad I did it. All right. That's a good one. I wanted to put small insights of what to come, what's to come. But yeah, I've also like kind of like what's to come with the podcast. Not really want to get into work stuff. I want to try to keep it a little bit more down low. So whenever we talk about like the podcast, I don't want to give off too much because I like the surprise when I tell a certain amount of people, who you are. What I want to do, I feel like I tell them because I like their creativity. Maybe I've seen them kind of do things in the past where it's funny, and I'm like, oh, if he thought that was funny, we kind of share the same humor. Maybe he'll think this is funny. So I like to share that with a certain amount of people, and but yeah, here sharing it on the actual podcast, it's just something cool to see. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of different professions, and we're gonna be able to see them at work or kind of like around the environment where they work at. I want to change locations every now and then. I like the spot here and I want to bring people, but I kind of want to like be where they're at, maybe let them be a little bit more comfortable. And yeah, I kind of want to just, again, if you travel, maybe you broaden the horizons. Maybe while I'm traveling, I kind of can adapt to how I can do a nice setup. I can adapt to, not being having to plan it and not being so close. Like you got to plan this, you got to take a better respect to it. You got to be prepared, write a whole, you know, a good list so you're able to see whatever you're going to be doing and just be a little bit more prepared. So I think that's going to be something that I'm excited for, just change of locations, being able to kind of, make a reason for my travel, keep doing that. And then I feel like that way justifies if I'm spending any type of money on it, at least it's for something, at least it's for the people who, are on the other side of the screen, which I appreciate. So I'm excited for that too. And I mean, that's basically plans for the future that I want to get into. There isn't really anything else right now. Just trying to stay a little bit more concentrated on the working out and all of that. Trying to catch up on that part of life. And there's not always a balance, and there always will be. But at least try to get something close to that. Just, don't overthink it. but as long as you feel like you're getting a little bit of everything, like I've involved running. I never really was a big runner. I wasn't, super excited about it, but at least doing it once a week has, has had its effects, and I think it's cool to be able to like see how far I can go and see that my body could take me a certain length. And sometimes you kind of not doubt yourself, but you forget that like we're able to travel. Like we have the freedom to literally walk and walk and walk. And yes, you can get tired, but the more you walk every time, the farther you get, the more you're able to kind of like see like I'm not that tired as I was yesterday, and I guess it gets easier. So I think that's a cool thing to do, is kind of like, keep trying to either involve it more, probably like, get it more days in. And even if it's at night, try to just be safe, but, take a nice run, take your mind off of things. And yeah, I think that's probably as far as I want to get into plans of the future, because if you're thinking about the future, you're anxious. If you're, so trying to reduce the anxiety. All right. And to aim. Well, we're actually down to the last part. It hasn't been super long, but at least it's something that I got to share with you guys. Got to talk a little bit, and that's what I kind of wanted to get into. I wanted to share time of appreciation. I've been learning to jot things down. I feel like it helps me take it off of the old coconut, and that's why now I'm kind of wanting to share this part of talking about appreciation. It's more of a lot of people have been coming up to me and talking to me about the show, and that's one of the things I wanted to say. Thank you to the people who have, and it just kind of shows you that sometimes you may think that like, oh, if I don't do this, nobody's gonna know. But when you start it, you kind of have that accountability that you have to follow, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that because it's a way of holding me accountable without like really 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 stressing me on it. It's just more of like, wow, like I did not expect that, and it's not that that's what I'm doing it for. I understand that for a couple of these years that I hope to be doing this, you got to pay your dues, you got to go with it. A lot of the great podcasters that I listen to daily, I've come to learn that they it took their time to really grow, to really be who they are now, to have the conversations they're able to. And so I look up to that, and I'm like, you know what? Let's make it interesting. Let's see how far we can go. And I believe that if I really keep my head on straight and, try to at least involve this once a week, you're going to get to see me. So I'm very, very appreciative of being able to think that way, and to accept the challenge of what this is. And I hope that if you guys have been thinking about starting a podcast or anything like this, if I'm of any help, I would definitely be open to. But yeah, just start it. Even if it's not this, if it's something that you've been wanting to do it. It is something that you will have to decide. And when you decide that, it goes towards having a contract basically with yourself, and that's what I'm kind of struggling with, because now I'm adding more things into my life that I didn't have before. And well, I had it in the past, having a podcast before, but yeah, I lost that connection, and I don't want it to happen again. I feel like this craft has found its way into my life one more time, and it's done that in the past, and hopefully this time it sticks. And I'm in a different headspace now, and I'm in a different part of my life where I hope to be able to keep this going. Basically, where I want to get, and yeah, just being appreciative of life, of just being here, and just being able to think this way, being able to know the people I know, do the things I do. And sometimes it's so simple and we forget about it. And I feel like that's what I've been thinking more of, like, hey man, like just think about what the fuck is going on, and really learn to appreciate it, even if it's shitty. That's been a big thing right now. A big process is, even if it's shitty, like, hey, this is either teaching you something or showing you like, this is a mistake and never do it again, which again is a lesson. So basically it's just teaching you something. being appreciative of that lesson is very hard at the moment. So definitely, understand if, people get frustrated. It is you know, a human reaction to for something that you're not really looking forward to. So take your time, but just, learn to just fight with it. Just, that's the only thing we can do. And I've learned that like um I'm thinking so much in the future of like, oh, what if I don't do this or what if, where I forget that I have to do shit right now. So, getting out of that is where it's been hard, and I'm kind of, getting out of it slowly and slowly, and I'm very excited to see, light at the end of the tunnel, and you're finding that, okay, I saw where I could go, and now I know where I can go next, and that's where I'm going. So definitely you have to go through it in order to realize what it could be, and then you can move on from there, and you can choose and make that decision of, yeah, I don't want to be stuck there. Let's keep moving. Or, if you do feel like that's the spot where you are more comfortable in this part of your life, then go for it. Just, learn that maybe it won't always be there, and then it won't always be that way. So don't get too comfortable is what I would say, because I've done it. And then, yeah, you kind of lose yourself a little bit. And every time you fall back into losing yourself, it's kind of hard to come back. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And yeah, we're at the end of the Pep Talks docket for today. And like I said, I'm very thankful for you guys for watching. And thank you if you made it to the end of the episode. And soon I will start making kind of like a different, like a theme or something of whoever, gets to see the end of the episode, and just kind of keep track of the people who do. And that's cool. And I appreciate you guys one more time. This was Pep Talks. Peace.